Hi there, my name's Emma Howe and I'm the owner of Emma Jane Tutoring. So I am really passionate about nurturing academic potential in every single one of your children. I've been teaching since 2008, which is a little bit too long now. I have taught internationally in Europe and also in England as well. I have many years teaching in a primary school setting. I have background in secondary school teaching as well. And I have a massively keen interest in education reform because I think some of the ways that teaching is a bit out of date, and I think it should be kind of ramped up a little bit. I've been in business just tutoring since 2013, although I've dipped into mainstream education every now and then to keep my skills up. And I have helped hundreds of teens achieve their dreams. I originally started on a one-to-one kind of basis, but in the last couple of years, I have increased the amount of classes and groups that I have. And now I currently have English, maths, and science evenings where I teach Key Stage 3 up to GCSE kids. And as I said before, I am really, really enthusiastic about children smashing those ceilings and just doing the best that they can do. So this is the strategy that I use to help all the kids that I work with to elevate their ambitions and reach their potentials. The first thing I do is I uncover the gaps that may have accumulated through, well, before it was just through different teachers or lack of teaching, but the first one is really strongly linked to the pandemic that we've all been going through at the moment. So number one is I uncover the gaps in knowledge and fill through engaging and interesting classes and sessions. The way that I uncover gaps is questioning. I make sure that I keep tabs on all my students whilst we are in a class. And I really, really ask so many times, do you understand this? Is this stressful? How well do you feel you've understood this topic? Do you need me to go through another thing with you? Because I think sometimes rushing is not beneficial, and sometimes take your time and really understand the content is going to be more beneficial for them. Once they have then taken on this new knowledge, I then get them to do work for me. So for English, get them to write essays, comprehension questions, creative pieces of writing. For maths, we do lots of exam questions, longer worded exam questions. And for science, we also do exam questions. And I also get them to do research on things like IVF and things like the environment and just things that will help them all across loads of different subjects, including geography and English and history. And if it just helps them to see that the world is not just what's in the textbook, that this stuff is really happening in real life. And that's what I do in number two. I give a lot of feedback, which I'm going to come on to a bit later, but that's basically what I do. Once, and that kind of happens mostly around year 7 to year 9. Although if a student comes to me, I've never seen them before, and they are a GCSE student, I have to go through stages 1 and 2 before I can get to 3. Number 3 is to elevate expectations, elevate their own expectations about what they can achieve once they have filled in and plugged all the gaps that they had, to help every child to reach their full potential. And I do this through lots of different things that I'm going to be discussing for different subjects, but ultimately it's to encourage them to produce better quality work, to do that through incentives. I strongly believe that kids shouldn't be wrapped in cotton wool as much as they are, and that it's important that they know that if they put work in, they're going to get rewarded, and if they don't put work in, they're not going to get rewarded. So everything is very nurturing with me, but I do really, really incentivize fabulous work. And that comes from being enthusiastic in my classes, to doing homework, to individuals just like going the extra step and achieving the things that they set out to achieve. So I'm going to go through the subjects that I teach right now. So I teach English first and foremost, normally on a Monday, and we do a lot of guided reading. So I'm reading a book called The Giver at the moment with my Key Stage 3 group, and that is a dystopian book. It's American actually, And it is really fabulous. It covers all different types of topics from adulthood, childhood, the idea of the social class system, politics. But because these are year 7 to 8 to 9, well, to year 7 to 8 students, we do the topics in a very supported way. And I introduce the idea of the social system and social classes and things like that slowly and gently. The idea is that I want them to expand their minds, to start thinking a bit critically, and I model and help them to write really well. I also do creative writing, and we look at poetry, and we do a whole bunch of things throughout the year. And it's just to get them enthusiastic about English. Reading especially, I read books because then I know I'm setting a new chapter every week and they have to read it. And they do it unwillingly to start with, but then they really start to get into it. And that's pretty much how I'm getting a lot of students to read right now. I pick good books that they're going to be interested in and we discuss it. A little bit like a book club, but we have feedback and written feedback as well, which brings me on to my next point, the feedback. So with all my groups, I set guided reading, writing tasks. Now, here is an example of one piece of homework that was written last year. It's a small paragraph, but I do write quite a lot of feedback. And it's not to put the student off, it's not to think, oh, so many comments here. Actually, a lot of them are like, great, you've done really well here, or I really like this word. But some of them are also like, you could have used this phrase, and I'll write the phrase out. Because I feel that sometimes marking is lacking in a lot of teachers. Teachers have so much work to do. I am incredibly privileged that I have built this business, and therefore I can have small groups that I can spend time marking and nurturing them in the way that I want to. And I get them to write every single week. I mark their work every single week, get to know them, get to know their writing style. And then magical things happen where I get lovely emails and lovely messages from students about how well they've done. And that's basically what I do for English. The next subject that we're going to have a little look at is maths. And a lot of students come to me petrified of maths. They absolutely hate it. And I'll be honest with you, I hated it as a child too, especially as a teenager. But I did work really hard, and the most efficient way I have found teaching maths is to streamline the teaching. I don't mean to rush the teaching. What I mean is that I just simplify all the formulas and all of the methods that some teachers go around the houses with. I don't have a maths degree, but I know how to teach maths because I just get to the point. We do examples, we look at real life situations. I joke about it, I come up with funny stories to go along with it, and it's memorable. And because it's memorable, people do well with me with maths. That's basically how I do it. I set homework, we look at calculations, we look at word problems, we do everything. And that, as a combination, produces really, really good work and confident maths learners, which is a lot of what I get calls about. My child's not confident in maths. Can you help them? Of course I can. That's what we do. The last one is science that I teach. I love science, and I think science is, well, it's everywhere. And it fills me with such joy when I'm in the lab, which I can't do right now because of the pandemic, but I'm in the lab and I have 8 kids buzzing about the fact that I've brought in lamb's lungs and we're cutting them up because I really miss the practical elements of science, and I hope to bring it back really, really soon. But for now, I've been doing as much as I can on screen. And again, it's efficient, streamlined teaching. It's just not going around the houses. It's pure science, the facts, the vocabulary that they're going to need to answer the questions. It's also making it real for them. And I set homework, as I said earlier on. I set them essays sometimes to write about global warming. How are you going to solve it? We look at IVF and why do you think the rates have gone up? We look at really hard questions. And I think the questions plus the really tangible learning has produced amazing results. And I've had kids that have gone from a 3, grade 3, up to a 7 in the space of less than a year, because they have just flourished and understood science for the first time, because they go right back to the basics, periodic table, what's an element, cells, and then we build up slowly. And with science, you have to go from the ground up. There's no way you can teach quantitative chemistry if you are not aware of what the periodic table even is. So that's pretty much what I do with science. And it's all through groups. And I love teaching in groups because you get questions and you get a discussion and they learn off each other, and they're small enough so that all of the kids get to know each other. And throughout this time, the groups have been so wonderful because they've really built a rapport with each other and with me. They've laughed at my terrible jokes. We've had fun as well. And I think that's so important, to nurture all the kids as well. And if they're having a down day, I can pick up on that and say, "You okay?" quietly in the chat box. And I have created like goal setting workshops, and I just really think about how the kids are feeling, as well as helping them thrive within education. That's me. Here's my details. You're on my website, or you might have found this video somewhere else, but the classes begin again after half term, and it's 5 weeks until Easter. And then I'm hoping to be back in real life. We'll see what happens. But if you are interested in any of my English, maths, or science groups from Key Stage 3 up to GCSE, please get in contact. I really look forward to hearing from you.